Hey, welcome back to Prairie Wings Performance. I'm Merl Mayer. We're going to be taking on a task that seems overwhelming and daunting. If you have some welding skills with aluminum, it's not that bad. Or if you know someone, you can set it up to get someone in to do it to cut your costs. But we are putting injector bungs on an intake. I know this is on a Corvair, but it's just injector bungs on aluminum intake. So this is what I've been living in anticipation about. We're gonna have to obviously modify the covers, and I'll have to machine this down. The injectors are supposed to be here today, but there is going to be injectors directly into each of these cylinders. And that's why I need to get this out. I think I'm going to, by doing this, shouldn't be any issue with clearance. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to use an injector rail on top of these. Probably not the way it looks. I'll probably have to plumb these all in individually. Beautiful. Very, very excited about that. Here's our odd plug. Oh, look at that. We have multiple odd plugs. It doesn't look like any of these plugs match. None of them. Don't know. That's weird. And I don't know where the bimetallic spring is. I'm assuming it's down in the bottom, maybe. I'm not going to worry about that because we'll ask if they aren't put back in. Okay, that's not going to be so easy. I'm going to fight these out. Figure out what I'm going to do to prevent crap going into the cylinders, which I pretty much know what I'm going to do. And I'll get some of this roughed out. So the heads are aluminum, and these are going to be the bosses that I weld on. And so what I've done is I just threw an old injector in. This injector is not what we're using, just to see the depth of it. Now this is made to go on tubing, and I am going to be flattening this out, and I can take it down a little bit. I don't want to change the angle of this. I really like the angle. I just want, now injectors have a different length from here to here, but it's all pretty close. And this injector actually is a Ford injector. It has a weird spray pattern. I don't want to use these in here anyway, but what the whole point is, we're going to be spraying fuel on the back of a closed valve before it opens to get fuel into that cylinder. So this, the way it's aimed and everything, is going to work out really good. I just have to modify these. I got to mill these down, and then I need to take and grind down the spots where I'm welding onto that manifold. So I'm going to take some time and do all that and get it ready. Just to show you where I'm at, I have been buffing with wire wheel and grinding. Now underneath here, this is all oil, grime, dirt. There was silver paint over top of what we have, but I'm clearing it down to bare metal. Now some of this is really porous. I'm going to have to grind a bunch of this out because this porous stuff, especially being sealed in with paint and whatever, this is going to end up really being nasty to weld. And I guess I'll show you the example. I haven't finished this side, so got a bunch ground off, whatever, and it's going good there. But this is what we're dealing with. So you can see there was silver paint over this. You can see it's been silver paint right here over top of just grime that's stuck in all the corners and everything. And I'm not sure what kind of rebuild that is, but he paid for someone to do this. It's so sad. Like, the valve covers, everything. You know, they might have had the valve covers off to paint them, but they didn't even clean them. There's just paint over top of grime. So if you're rebuilding engines this way, yeah, that's not really the best. I'm not sure if I'm justified or not, but I don't know if this to you looks like cheap pieces or not, but I started milling this down and I've got them all done now, but it took me a lot of extra time. And the reason why is, I don't know if you can see in the camera here, but these two bolts here were in line with flat here. Well, the problem is I've bought these before. I've used them before, and had offshore stuff, we'll call it. And there was no issues with it. Never seen it. Well, I bought these ones from a reputable company, paid more for them, and the way they were machined here, none of them were the same. You would think that this was probably made in a CNC machine, but I'm betting that this was made by somebody who wasn't getting paid properly in a country that maybe isn't all legit with what they do. And I'm really ticked because you pay from a reputable company a piece that you would expect that the machining that they did on these would actually be straight and not where they're cut at a different angle. And yeah, anyway, from one to the other, from the most extreme, there were about 12 degrees difference, where basically this is rotated the point here instead of being in straight line with these. Does it really matter? No. But when you pay more money for stuff, I'm just ranting about I can't stand paying extra money and getting the same stuff that you would buy cheap put in a box with a brand name on it. Really sucks. What I'm doing is I have to prep all this so that I'm going to be drilling this. This is aluminum. An engine will digest it. This engine's getting it taken apart and rebuilt. Do I want this engine to digest aluminum? Nope, I don't. So I am going to pack in as much rag as I can get in here. So when I'm drilling, I'm not filling this thing with filings, because I'm going to have to drill, smooth it all off, get it all ready. And so got a packer full of material. It's actually pretty thin there. So, and the rag is stuffed right in there. I pushed it down a little bit. So this now is in the right spot. It needs to get a little angle to it. I don't need to worry about the angle any as much as I thought I did, because I thought this would be thicker. Pulling the rag out. She shoved in there pretty hardcore. Thought I could pack down enough. Okay, perfect. So what I'm trying to do, you can see I shoved the rag and it's tight in there. I'm going to be able to vacuum that out. And down here, down this tube, like it'd be awesome to put the injector here, but not possible. So I'm going to be putting the injector bung on, and I don't want the fuel to be hitting a wall in there. I want this to be a smoother transition. I'm not going to need to worry about the angle finder anymore because this is relatively thin. It's thinner than what I thought. This intake tube on the head is actually got more volume in it than I thought. But neither here nor there, that doesn't matter. If I set this where the plan is and I aim it right into the cylinder, which I'm trying to do, okay, and I line that up inside of there, I now don't have a wall I'm shooting against. I am actually shooting dead into, if I line that up, dead into the cylinder. So I'm not going to be hanging up on the edge of that wall. So, success. That's success. So now what I need to do is repeat it a bunch more times. And I'll get all these bungs ready. And that's beautiful. And we will weld them on. The original PCV tubes came across and went into the back of the manifold. So the throttle plate on this used to be right here, and that PCV tube, they were sucking it in below the throttle plate. Well, what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be putting it up in the tube, because the throttle plate is going to be up here somewhere. So because we're building manifolds for this. So what I need to do to clear the injector thing is, on the front of this, they have frost plugs. I don't have frost plugs for that hole. What I'm doing is I'm going to be threading in 1/8 NPT pipe plugs. And once these are in, they will not be able to come out because the bung will be in the way. So the plan is to thread them and permanently leave them in, just like, I guess the frost plug is in there, like that. And this is aluminum, so cuts beautifully. So that PCV tube hole permanently blocked. I don't even know if you'd be able to, oh yeah, you'd have to cut an Allen wrench down, whatever, but you'd still be able to monkey with that, but don't need to. Can't see it ever needing it again unless someone decides to throw carbs back on this, which I hope that's never the case. So this side, I feel comfortable with getting everything set up, starting to weld on. I need to repeat the process over there. I'm really hoping that you can see this. I started pulling this rag out from this side. Now you can see it is the holes, like I have that rag just packed in there, lots of rag. You can see filings coming out of here. Now I've vacuumed this already, and I'm vacuuming as I'm pulling out, because I don't want any of these filings to be down into the cylinder. So it's gonna get loud with the vacuum, but I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about and just watch the filings. Hopefully you can hear as I'm doing this. The filings that I've been working on here are just coming up as I pull out through the hole. And I just keep sucking on this as it's coming out. And you see, I don't know if you can see, but the bottom of this is just more filings coming out of here on this rag. Tons of filings on the rag coming out of those holes. And as I pull this out, I had the rag shoved down into here. You want to make sure that this hole over here isn't dragging filings into this hole. So you want to do this real slow as you're working it. Try and not pull out the rag out of here, out of this side. So you can see this is what's coming out of this. When you drilling and filing. There's still rag I can see down in there coming out as I pull. I shoved it as tight in there as I could with a couple different gauges of TIG rod. A lot of rag shoved into that intake. A lot of rag. I guess cylinder had not intake. But you can see it's still to this hole. Okay, that part's out. So I'm going to vacuum this as much as I can. A lot of rag shoved into there.
Well, I'm pretty confident that we're going to be pretty good with all that. So I just want to make sure that there's little in there as possible.
Even though these are light flakes of aluminum, I just don't want to have any risk of anything being in that engine. So I am just going to get the all these made up and ready to tack on, and then tack them on, weld them out. So what I was talking about before as well with these little plugs I threaded, so there was a PCV tube coming out here, and that hole is threaded, and I have a plug threaded into it. Very interesting. The cylinder head takes a massive amount of time to get heat in it to weld. So it'll be fun. It'll be some fun times. What I'm doing is I'm trying to aim it right into that, so the fuel goes right in towards the valve. Definitely hit some real bad spots of contamination, but you know what, overall really happy with how it turned out. Yeah, there was just some pockets of gunk that would blow out. There was a really bad one there, and it's close to that hole. It was kind of sketch, but otherwise, I mean, you know, they turned out really nice. Pretty happy with it. Thank you so much for checking this video out. I'm hoping that I gave you some information and encouragement to tackle a task like this on your job. And this video belongs in another series. We're doing a Corvair restomod, and this is part of the fuel injection, the DIY fuel injection bit of that series. So if you want more details on it, check out how to build cam sensor, how to set up crank sensor, and the rest of the DIY fuel injection stuff that you need to know if this is something you're going to be doing.